We are back again talking about Safaricom. The telecom statistics for the fourth quarter are actually out, and we're looking at that as well as trying to understand, is there an opportunity to buy or to sell Safaricom at the current price? Tracy, before we took a break, we were talking about M-Pesa and mobile payments and Safaricom's dominant hold with regards to market share in this sector. You were just giving us an overview of what's happening with Equitel and Airtel. What about Telcom? What is happening there?
Telcom has actually made some good inroads this quarter in terms of market share, but it's quite late to the table, I must say.
All right.
So they've also been operating quite strongly on price wars, but their network quality does not match what Airtel is offering at the moment. So market share will continue to remain muted. They're around 7% market share across. We'd expect that to persist.
Be muted.
Yeah.
All right. And if I continue on the same subject, the EU did publish a report earlier this week stating the fact that in about 2 to 3 years, the majority of payments and transactions will be done outside of the banking sector. Is this something that could actually hold true for Kenya? And if so, would Safaricom be the biggest beneficiary with regards to mobile payments?
I would say we're already there.
We're already there. Okay.
Because looking at the contribution of mobile money to GDP, we're now talking north of 60%.
Wow.
So, yes, a lot of the transactions are actually operating not only just in the mobile segment, but even in the informal segment in Kenya. So we're not actually seeing quite a lot of these transactions. And financial inclusion paints a picture of where there's a lot of banking penetration, but it's actually through the mobile phone, which is very different. But I think this is the way Kenya will continue to be. It's just that we started very early with M-Pesa. It's other countries that are now playing catch up to that notion.
I like the way that you have articulated that opportunity. Is there more headroom for Safaricom to grow with regards of with it using M-Pesa as a railroad into a cashless economy?
Yes. As much as we've seen quite a lot of transactions happening in the mobile segment, they've been largely on the transfers platform, not on the business platform.
Okay, so that's person to person.
Yeah.
All right.
So for the business segment, that's the highest growing segment for M-Pesa right now.
Is that the Lipa na M-Pesa where you use the pay bill and the buy goods?
Correct.
All right.
So there's Lipa na M-Pesa, there's the pay bill for electricity bills, water bills, and there's the very popular bank to customer and customer to bank, which have been the main leaders for Safaricom in the business segment.
Is this happening with all the banks or just a few select banks now?
We would say pretty much all the banks
can be able to.
Yeah, but obviously it's the top 10 banks that would be carrying a majority of those transactions.
All right. Yeah. I'm here to ask you how you feel it's fairly valid, because you're describing an opportunity that has limitless opportunities, especially on mobile payments. But let's park that for now. Let's look at the sector. There has been the conversation, the ongoing transaction between Telcom and Airtel, and the element of dominance of Safaricom in the market space. How should we look at that?
For me, it's positive in a way because Airtel has proven to be a very strong competitor in the market. Them merging with Telcom would give them around 33% market share.
From what? What is it currently?
From Airtel has 27 and Telcom has 7, so actually 34%
market share.
Safaricom will come in at around 65%.
Okay.
I think that's a very it's solid market share for you to compete against a Safaricom type.
All right.
And what also gives Airtel and Telcom a lot of leeway to get subscribers here is their combined spectrum. Should they get the total combined spectrum from the merger?
What does combined spectrum mean?
So each telco is allocated spectrum for which to provide services to its customers.
Yes.
So Safaricom has around 57 megahertz of that. Airtel and Telcom combined would have 77 megahertz. 77.
So in the new merged entity would actually have not superior, more bandwidth, so to speak, compared to Safaricom.
Correct.
Could that possibly be a competitive threat for Safaricom?
Definitely, because Airtel and Telcom are both competing on price. So they're able to do this because they don't have as many subscribers on their network. So it doesn't matter how many subscribers come on, they're able to maintain that network quality
of service,
with minimal investment.
Okay.
So having more spectrum makes you able to get more subscribers in your network with less investment than, say, someone with lower spectrum capacity would have to.
Wow.
So it would mean that Airtel and Telcom would be very aggressive.
So what you're saying, Tracy, let me just put it simply.
Yeah.
I enjoy cake or eating cakes.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is Safaricom has a production facility that is this big, but it's almost at, it's operating at a good size of utilization of that facility. And then what you're saying is if Telcom and Airtel merge, then their facility is bigger and they could do more.
Yeah.
That, if I look at it in that way, it means that effectively Telcom and Airtel can produce more cakes that are worth my while compared to Safaricom.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
Not necessarily, because it's multifaceted, looking at what the subscriber wants.
All right.
The subscriber wants great customer service.
That's true.
They want network quality, and they want convenience in one phone.
Okay.
So Safaricom has largely been growing just because they have mobile money, and the rest of the operators haven't offered as strong mobile money products. So should Safaricom just be able to maintain network quality at current levels and look at their data pricing, which they've already looked at,
Yes.
it's actually just a matter of time. So you probably, yes, see Airtel being very aggressive,
All right.
but in time subscriptions will still go back to Safaricom.
Okay, so in other words, what you're saying, there is the possible threat to Safaricom's dominance, but it's also dependent on the kind of investments that Telcom and Airtel make to be able to monetize that opportunity.
Correct.
Okay.
And let's also note that even during this very aggressive period that Airtel has been in, Safaricom has been growing customers on average 8%. Despite them losing market share,
Interesting.
the subscriptions are growing.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's very interesting. Let's come back to now the element of dominance, because the regulatory conversation or the proposed regulatory conversation is split Safaricom. Separate the voice business from the M-Pesa business. Telcom has no place in doing banking business in this economy. What are your thoughts on that?
I think we might see that conversation being kicked down further the road right now.
Okay.
For me, yes, that would be a big worry, because a lot of the stickiness of the Safaricom customer is coming from the fact that they can have M-Pesa and mobile data and voice in one SIM card.
That's true.
So if you're able to separate that, then it would mean an Airtel customer might be able to access M-Pesa without having to be a Safaricom customer. That would be quite negative in terms of retaining subscriptions on Safaricom's end.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think this is a long-term conversation.
That's a long-term conversation. Outside of that particular risk, which is regulatory in nature, is there any other risk to the investment case of Safaricom today?
At this point, no. Competition and regulation have been the biggest worries, but even for competition, it seems like it will be short-lived.
Okay.
And the regulatory process, as long as it's not too aggressive in the short term, I think even in the long term, they will be able to mitigate such risks.
Okay, interesting. When we started the show, Tracy, you said that it's fairly valued.
Yes.
So it's been trading between 27 and a half
Yeah.
over the last couple of weeks. But then when we discuss it, and you're talking to me like we're, eating cake and we're discussing Safaricom as investment opportunity, you're lighting up. And all the information you're telling me sounds very positive for Safaricom. So then why should I not be buying it at 27?
Because a lot of this opportunity is yet to be realized.
Okay.
So looking at the potential, yes, it's quite
unrealized
high,
potential, all right.
but the execution is not going to be as easy as it was 10 years ago. You're looking at growing mobile data when you have a competitor who will potentially have more spectrum than you. You are looking to grow mobile money in the business segment, in a segment where the merchants are willing to pay cash, to use cash, and not in car transaction charges.
That's true.
So there will be a lot of investment in behavioral changes and in marketing to ensure that you get that traction.
All right.
So for now, we think that
So
the current price is
fairly
valid.
So just as we come to the end of the show, you brought a very interesting element on execution. The management team, the CEO role is yet to be filled with a permanent, with somebody who's actually been confirmed in that role. Do you think Safaricom, as it stands, you do evaluate the stock, you do evaluate management and leadership? Do you feel like the leadership as well as the management team there is able to execute on this unrealized opportunity?
Management has proven quite robust, and they've been consistent in terms of how they've been replacing them either from the Vodafone subsidiaries, or potentially this time we might even get someone locally.
Okay. Would you be concerned if we got someone locally?
It would depend.
It would depend
on the caliber of leadership.
All right.
So the issue is, for me, is not management execution. It's whether the target market is ready to embrace the new opportunities.
Okay.
So that's what I'll be watching out for, any changes in customer demands or customer behavior to execute.
So it's more extrinsic.
Yeah.
All right. Is there anything else on Safaricom that you think is pertinent to this conversation?
No, I think we've
covered it. All right, thank you very much, Mrs. Tracy, Mrs. Tracy Omolo, on this conversation on Safaricom. So yes, there's a lot of exciting stories, but it looks like largely the opportunity on Safaricom is largely unrealized potential. The element to get to this unrealized potential largely lies on execution from the management team, as well as the receptiveness from the customer demands, that is. It is trading at about 27 to 27.5 today. 30 million shares have traded. The foreigners might be seeing an opportunity. The question is, are you seeing an opportunity? And if so, when will you tap into that opportunity? Thank you for joining us once again. See you tomorrow, same time. Good afternoon.